The politicians, they don't seem to want to fix anything. Jail, deportation. I'm not opposed to immigration in any way.
They are racist.
Okay.
In a legalised form.
Legalised racism, you feel?
Yeah.
The UK it's dying.
Earlier you walked past something.
There was a reform tent, and as lovely as they seemed, I just couldn't help but be a little bit scared.
Do you feel like Nigel Farage is a bit too extreme on immigration?
Yeah.
So let me zoom it out a bit.
He's going to put me on the spot now. Yeah,
No pressure.
That's the job you're going for.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's great to meet you. What was your name?
Simon O'Dell.
Sorry?
Simon O'Dell.
Simon O'Dell, and I think you said you're running for
the Tower Hamlets council position.
In terms of policies, do you have anything in particular that you're particularly passionate about?
Basically, we're trying to sort of bring sanity back into politics. The politicians up there in Whitehall, they're all career politicians. There's no normal, real people there. I'm getting into this because it's the right thing to do. We're trying to sort of bring sanity back to politics. There's so many things going wrong in the country. The streets are filthy, dog mess everywhere. You can't get to see a doctor, you can't get to see a dentist. Everything's going wrong. The politicians don't seem to want to fix anything. They're just rubbish.
In terms of immigration, what's your thoughts on?
Right, okay, so we're against illegal immigration, but we're for immigration in general.
I have to point out, though, that this is not really the policy of the Reform Party. In their contract with the people, which is their word for a manifesto, they say that critical reforms needed in the first 100 days include a freeze on non-essential immigration. They also call for strict limits on immigration. Essential skills, mainly around healthcare, must be the only exception, it reads. So whilst this gentleman has a less extreme position on immigration, I don't think the Reform Party fully aligns with those views.
We need people to come in. It's healthy for society, it's good for genetic diversity and all that. I myself, I'm married to a Filipino lady. My daughter is half Filipino. I would never support anything that's going to diminish my own wife's rights in this country, or my daughter's right. I just spent 10 years in the Middle East. I lost everything in the pandemic. I ended up back in the UK. Over there, it was Abu Dhabi. There's people from 200 nationalities.
Yeah.
They go to the food court, they all sit down and eat together.
Yeah.
I got married in a church in the Middle East. They have Diwali and Ramadan, and there's Christmas trees in the mall. It's a model of multi-culturalism that really does work.
Yeah.
But we need to learn some ideas from them. Their immigration system is so much more sane and sensible than ours.
What is it that's better about their system?
Okay, so they're not open to every country. They have their limits, but generally they're very open. As a British citizen, I was able to just go there, get a visa on arrival and start looking for work.
Yeah.
Then I got hired and then I was able to stay. There's no route to citizenship for them. But
So you were mentioning earlier you walked past something?
Oh yeah, no, I was just walking to my workplace and there was a reform tent. And as lovely as they seemed, I just couldn't help but be a little bit scared and nervous around them, just because of what that party represents for the migrants of this country, for the people of colour of this country. Even their presence just unnerved me a little bit.
Do you feel as though they potentially hold racist beliefs?
I will not be on record saying
You do not have to
like
comment.
that.
You don't have to comment on that.
I'm sure there's lots of people who have said lots of things that they're associated with some pretty racist stuff.
Okay, but it was more that it unnerved you, like it just made you feel uncomfortable, I guess, just seeing.
Well, no, because I know that they're gaining some steam in some certain ways, and it just makes me concerned for the near future of this country. But who am I to say?
Gotcha. No, thank you very much for sharing.
You're welcome, man.
the UK it's dying.
Do you feel like it's illegal immigration that is causing that?
No, I don't. Nigel generally promotes this. I don't agree with everything he says. I agree with a lot of what he says. You know,
Yeah, sure.
I'm standing for the same party. I'm 99% on the same side. I would say, like, my mother was one of 9 children. If we were still having 9 children per generation, we would have this many people here anyway.
Yeah,
whether there was immigration or not. The problem is we're not building what we need to build. We're not funding the improvements that we need to fund. The people coming over and there's no space, and then we're getting overcrowded and everything's going to hell. We need to have like a sensible policy, like any sensible, normal country has of their border, and then we need to invest to account for the fact that the population is going to rise over time.
Yeah.
I mean,
What kind of things are you looking at? More housing?
yeah. This is all national policy. I'm only standing for council.
Yeah.
It's a separate thing.
Yeah.
And we could build a New York. We could build something awesome. But that's not going to happen with Labour and Conservative. They've got no ideas. They're just career politicians. They just go blah, 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 and everyone keeps voting for them. So we're standing here being something different.
Based on what can be provided.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, a lot of people that are in genuine need
Yeah.
of refuge just get caught up in the melee.
Right, okay.
Yeah, the infrastructure needs to be expanded at the same rate as immigration. You can select the people that come here and then have some capacity for the people that genuinely need to seek asylum, who unfortunately at the moment are all bundled up with everyone else.
And which types of immigration would you like to see reduced? So asylum seekers is one side, you've got legal migration and you've got illegal migration.
Legal migration, I don't think anyone has a problem with, because the government sets those numbers, and if you don't like the numbers governments are setting, you can vote for a different party. In terms of the illegal migration, I don't know, it's just, I think it's overwhelming a lot of the services. Kent County Council are really struggling with unaccompanied juvenile illegal immigrant, and that's causing massive issues for the council itself.
Yeah.
It's a problem.
What about asylum seekers? Do you feel like people should be able to climb asylum?
Yeah, asylum is great. I mean, we've always done it from the World War II Ukrainians, where there are issues, then yeah, people should be able to claim asylum in the UK.
Do you think that there's a misconception where people think that the Reform Party is against all forms of immigration, whereas potentially it's not, the Reform's policy is potentially not as extreme, or at least your belief?
There is a perception amongst a lot of people. We've had a lot of people coming past doing Nazi salutes.
Elon Musk was recently accused of doing such a salute.
And I just want to say thank you for making it happen. Thank you.
There was immediate backlash on social media. Some historians compared it to a Nazi salute. Musk posted on X, frankly, they need better dirty tricks. The everyone is Hitler attack is so tired. Musk's politics have increasingly shifted to the right. He's made statements in support of the British anti-immigration party Reform UK.
However, some people have argued that you didn't do that salute on purpose.
And shouting, abuse. This is my first day down here. I've been surprised by two things. Firstly, how much support there is. It's massive support. The number of people that want to come over and talk about the issues. And then the other people, they'll shout something as they walk past. And you say, yeah, can you explain, do you want to talk? And they just carry on walking. Because it's a cheap shot. It's like, I want to shout abuse at someone, but I'm not prepared to actually explain why I think you're a racist, or why I think you're out of order. They just want to shout something. They don't want discussion.
Captain, are you also running for office, or are you a volunteer?
No, I'm
You're just helping out?
Yeah, I'm just here to hand out some leaflets and just be a bit of support, because there have been incidents where people have sort of gathered and started sort of. So
like also kind of safety as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah.
I think you said that you're a Reform Party voter.
I'm going to be.
Why is that? What do you like about Reform?
Because I don't like the rest of them.
It's more that you've had enough of the other parties.
I've certainly had enough of Labour since they've been in. I rue the day they ever came in.
Really? Why is that?
They never have been. Never have been. There's two people I trust, Churchill and Thatcher.
So you would like the Conservatives. So why are you thinking Reform this time?
Immigrants.
Okay. Tell me about it. Or do you not like immigrants, or is it...
No, it's not that I don't like them. It's the fact that we're looking after them and not looking after ourselves.
Okay, so you feel like there's too much resources going on looking after immigrants, in your opinion?
Our old age pensions this year have gone without their winter fuel payment to look after those. And that's not fair.
So your opinion is you feel like there's too much being spent on potentially immigrants rather than other people.
Yeah.
What do you think of Nigel Farage?
I think he's brilliant. He's great. I just hope he stays grounded and doesn't end up like all the other politicians, all wrapped up in their own importance. And so far, he's keeping a lid on it. So that's my only hope, that he keeps grounded.
One last question I was going to ask you. How do you feel immigration has affected Dover specifically?
A lot of people that I speak to that are from Dover, it's pretty much the first thing they mention when they find out you're from Dover. It's like, oh, what's it like down there? Thinking it's like some sort of war zone. And I would say it's, people go through Dover. So Dover doesn't really suffer with any sort of social tensions any more than any other place.
I get the impression you are more focused on fixing Britain and restoring Britain, as opposed to really massively focusing on immigration. Would you say that's fair, or like?
Yeah. I think like my mum was one of 9 children.
Yeah.
Right? So we're not really having that many children anymore. But if we were, we'd have just as many people here now as we've had, from the immigration. You know what I mean? The population would still be rising.
Yeah.
The problem is not the population rising. The problem is that we're not funding all of the stuff that we need to support the larger population. I'm not opposed to immigration in any way. Obviously, there's illegal immigration, which is like infiltration. The big problem there is not that it's making everybody poorer, but we're ending up with an underclass of people who have no documents, who have no ability to get a bank account, no ability to rent property. They're becoming a new kind of slave class, and that's just wrong.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're being exploited to get here, and then when they get here, they've got no rights. This has to stop. To stop the boats, we need to have a sensible policy of immigration where it's all done officially and everything's documented, and they can come in and have proper full rights of citizens.
I don't want to get you in trouble here, but like, do you feel like Nigel Farage is a bit too extreme on immigration?
No, I think he's... Yeah, he probably is trying to get Maybe. Oh dear. Yeah, probably a little bit. Yeah.
A little bit, but in your defence, like what you were saying before, is like you agree with Nigel on like 99.
A lot of things.
Exactly.
We need to get Labour and Conservative. We need to give them a kick in. They're forming into just like one uniparty. They're like 2 rotting corpses that are propping each other up, and every time one of them gets elected, they just blame everything on the other party, and then they make things worse. You know what I mean? And it's just over and over. And I'm sick and tired of hearing them say, "Oh, we've got to fix broken Britain. We've got to fix broken Britain." So you lot broke it. Do you know what I mean? It's the same thing. It's like a stuck record going round and round. So what we're trying to do is have something, a new idea, a new policy.
There's a Reform Party tent just down there. What do you think of the Reform Party?
I don't know enough about them, to be honest.
Okay.
I've heard mixed signals. Some love them, some hate them. So I'm not sure. I don't know enough about it, to be honest.
And do you think that immigrants are good people or bad people?
A bit of both, just like we are. You know, you always get good and bad people, no matter who you are. So, it just depends on the person, really.
And I think within reform, we can have people who lean left and lean right, and it's not a problem. You know what I mean? We can be like a broad church. You know what I mean? So Nigel believes that the problem is just immigration. I think it's the underfunding of public services. And where we both do agree, definitely, is that illegal immigration is bad.
Yeah.
And it's causing a lot of problems. That needs to be stopped, and I'm very much with Nigel on that. Immigration itself, I think, is a good thing and is healthy for society.
I'm going to challenge you on something. You said that the Reform Party could capture people that are left or right, roughly. What I just think is interesting, I only just noticed this, is that the Reform Party has an arrow and it's pointing to the right. And I wonder whether that symbolises the right wing.
There's a pyramid with an eye on top of it as well. You can read all.
Oh, okay, maybe I'm overreading. Maybe I'm reading too much into it. I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, I'm not involved with designing any of this stuff.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Maybe. I would say I'm kind of centre right.
Just on that.
Yeah.
Which hand is that?
That would be your left hand. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I mean, you could make the argument. So maybe Reform Party is on the left. Who knows?
Well, we can have a plurality of voices.
I'll tell you what, we could just rotate it 90 degrees up is a good way.
Yeah,
up's a good
we
way.
all like up.
Upwards.
Yeah, up is good,
Okay.
You know, but the main political parties have voices within them that are both left and right. There's no rule that says we have to be fully one or fully the other.
Oatmeal? What on earth's that one is at home? All I want's proper bloody milk, not left-wing options, proper milk. What's wrong with me asking for that?
I consider myself a centrist. I speak with and I have friends with on both sides. Respect left-wing arguments, some of them, and I respect some right-wing arguments.
Yeah.
I was blown away by how well Abu-Dhabi worked. I can't let go of that. And I certainly would never support any movement that would diminish the rights of my own wife and daughter in this country.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's where I stand.
An interesting fact is that Nigel Farage's wife is actually an immigrant.
Nigel Farage is not a racist. He's got a foreign national wife.
Just because you have a foreign national wife doesn't mean you can't be racist.
If you were to give people one reason why they should vote for Simon O'Donnell, what would you say?
It's Odell, right?
Odell. My apologies.
Yeah. Why vote for me? Well, I guess because I actually want to make things better. I have empathy and I actually do care. People want to come to talk to me about something that the council can do for them. I really am going to actually try and make it happen. I don't know if I'm going to have the power to make it happen, but I'm certainly going to try. That in contrast to maybe other like career politicians who just don't care.
I think that's good, mate. Like to have empathy and to genuinely care about the people. That is something that is very important.
I think you can tell as well, I've not got slick answers all worked out.
Sure.
I'm just telling you what I think and how I feel.
Because obviously it's a reform booth. Nigel Farage, for example, has had milkshakes thrown at him recently. Do you sometimes feel a little bit unsafe?
We've had people walking along here zig-heiling us and all sorts, calling us Nazis, saying we should be ashamed of ourselves. What do I have to be ashamed of? I've got an opinion. I don't like the main parties that exist right now, and I see a new party coming up, and mostly, 99% representing the same common sense stuff that I think is common sense. Why should I be ashamed of myself?
Thank you very much for taking the time to speak to me. Like, genuinely, I appreciate that.
Right.
So,
can I see that? The footage?
You wouldn't have anything to do with the Reform Party?
No, wedging the door, isn't it?
And do you mind if I ask why you feel that you disagree with them?
Well, because basically I feel they are racist.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. And what makes you feel that?
In a legalised form.
Sorry?
In a legalised form.
Legalised
probably.
racism, you feel?
Yeah, that's it. I've got to go get my shopping.
No problem, no problem.
Right.
Thank you very much for sharing.
You.
Is the Reform Party racist? Well, let's look into it. Starting with their leader. Led by Donkeys explains that Farage was allegedly referred to as having racist and neo-fascist views by a colleague that teaches at Dulwich College. That a colleague identified him with a group of others marching through a village shouting Hitler Youth songs. Nigel Farage would later deny these allegations, saying that he doesn't know any Hitler Youth songs in English or German. He has also acknowledged that Farage's former headmaster remembered Nigel as rude rather than racist, although the allegations levelled at Farage continue, with a reference theoretically made by Farage to a Jewish person that said that Farage would say Hitler was right and to gas them. When this was brought up by a reporter in an interview, Nigel Farage said that at school he had said things that were not necessarily racist, and it depends how you define it.
Yes, of course, I said some ridiculous things that upset
Racist
them.
things?
Not necessarily racist things.
Not
but
necessarily racist.
Well, it depends how you define it.
Led by Donkeys also found that Nigel Farage sought the endorsement of Enoch Powell, a man that made a famous speech that included the words,
This country, in 15 or 20 years' time, the black man will have the whip hand over the white.
Nigel Farage would later refer to Barack Obama as a creature, would be endorsed by a former KKK leader, and rolled out a Breaking Point poster that was compared by some as being similar to Nazi propaganda.
Do you see that why people would regard this as xenophobic and racist? I mean, there you are, in front of a poster full of brown faces on the move, coming into Europe with a big banner headline saying Breaking Point. The only white face has been obscured by text. Many people took that as deeply offensive. And I ask you again, do you want to take this opportunity to say sorry?
Well, the Schengen zone is at breaking point, that's undeniable. The picture was true, it wasn't doctored, but what I apologise for is the timing.
There are many other allegations presented about Farage. I will leave a link to the Led by Donkeys video in the description. Now, in defence of Farage, he has been publicly critical of Tommy Robinson, the far-right activist who has said that he is opposed to Islam and committed various crimes. Farage has also been critical of Reform members that have said racist things. He specifically said, "The appalling sentiments expressed by some in these exchanges bear no relation to my own views, those of the vast majority of our supporters or Reform UK." This was after a canvasser for Reform UK suggested migrants trying to cross the channel be used for quote, target practice.
This canvasser saying people seeking asylum should be shot.
Get the young recruits there, with guns on the beach, target practice, just shoot them.
Racist language was repeatedly used, here directed at the Prime Minister Rishi Sunak.
We got him. What's good is he?
And homophobia from Farage's inner circle.
Did you see that degenerate flag on the front bonnet? What the old Bill doing promoting that crap?
On 29th of June 2024, it was reported that Reform UK had to drop 3 of its candidates because they made offensive or racist comments. Mr Farage told the programme, "I want nothing to do with them." Lee Anderson is an MP for Reform UK, and he was reported to the police for saying that Islamists had got control of Mr Khan and that the capital had been given to extremists.
Are you ready to apologise?
No.
Why not?
Because apologise for what?
Because you implied that the Mayor of London is under the control of Islamists, and he isn't, is he? Well,
in one instance, when defending the Reform Party, Richard Tice has referred to the chairman of the party as being a Muslim himself. But here's the thing, Britain is collapsing, the UK is miserable, and everyone is leaving. This is what I'm hearing on social media, so I wanted to investigate whether this is actually true. I went to the UK's most miserable city, according to the newspapers, to investigate. But you can click here to watch it.